I really didn't want to get married, but
We only got married because Gammy was crying.
I was under so much pressure, being a young actress, being young, and I was pregnant. I was just like, I didn't know what to do. But I just knew, I was like, I never wanted to be married.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement.
What do you say about the allegations? There's like so many rumors. Anything you want to say? We sue it. I know that's right.
Chris Rock is back on Will Smith's neck again, and this time it hits way harder than just a joke. Just when people thought that whole Oscar moment was old news, some leaked footage linked to Jada Pinkett Smith flipped the whole story upside down. Now Will is getting laughed at all over again, and not in a small way. The internet is watching closely, questioning everything we thought we knew about their relationship. Jada is moving like she's completely checked out, no hesitation at all. People close to them are saying she's been giving attention to other men, and somehow it all circles back to Will looking lost in his own situation. And guess who seems to be enjoying every second of this? Chris Rock. Yeah, he didn't forget anything, not after all these years, and he's making that very clear. The way Chris is reacting now feels messy and a little petty, and it's only making Will's situation look worse in public. But here's the part that really gets people talking. This didn't just pop up out of nowhere. The clues were always there, from interviews to them living separate lives to those moments where Will looked like he was struggling to keep it together while Jada kept speaking her truth out loud.
Living together?
It's just this beautiful connection. We will.
Look at that.
Not right now.
But you will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why do you say that with such
Clarity.
Because that's what it's gonna be.
That's where it's headed.
Yeah.
And you both are on that page.
Yeah, and but right now I really do enjoy my space.
Yeah.
I've been living. I am my mother's only child.
Yeah.
Right. And so having this time that I've had to myself has been fantastic.
Now everything is circling back at the same time, and people are finally connecting dots they ignored before. That leaked footage is only making the situation look messier, and the timing couldn't be worse. So what exactly did Chris say, and why does this feel like a serious hit to Will's public image? It's been 4 years since Will shocked everyone at the Oscars, but it's obvious Chris hasn't let it go, especially with how he's now joking about Jada seemingly moving on. It all picked up again after Jada did an interview where she got asked if Will would ever move back in with her. The way she answered had people raising eyebrows immediately. When asked, "So are y'all living together?" she responded, "It's just this beautiful connection. We will." That response didn't exactly sound like someone ready to reconnect anytime soon, and people caught on to that fast. Now reports are claiming Jada has no plans of letting Will move back in, and she's been spending time with other men, allegedly. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get more intense, more rumors started spreading. There are claims about private recordings surfacing online, and people are reacting strongly, saying the situation has crossed into wild territory.
The internet is going in on Will right now, and nobody seems to be laughing harder than Chris Rock. Like I said, he's clearly still holding on to that moment, and it shows in the way he keeps bringing Will up.
Just to get to know me, even to have my house exactly how I want it. I don't have to be like, well, what color do you want this wall? You know what I mean? I can just do it.
You're the chooser.
I'm the chooser.
You're the chooser.
Right.
When you imagine your life back together, because I'm sure you've seen it, how does that look to you?
We don't know yet.
You'll build that.
We'll build that. And it'll be
Meanwhile, Will did try to make things right with a public statement where he said, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable." He also said, "Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally." Then he added, "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be." He even made it clear, saying, "There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." That sounded sincere, but clearly it didn't land the way he hoped, because from how Chris is reacting now, it's obvious he didn't accept that apology at all. And what makes this even more awkward for Will is that he's never really spoken badly about Jada or their relationship in public, not even once. even while everything around them keeps getting more intense. Everything we know about their marriage feels like it got revealed without warning, and most of it came straight from Jada herself. People didn't even realize they were living completely separate lives until she casually shared it during a book promo interview. It was one of those moments where people had to rewind and ask, wait, did she really just say that? Then it hit even harder when it was confirmed that back in 2016, they decided to live totally separate lives. According to Jada, they made a promise to never officially end the marriage, no matter what happens. And that right there made everything start to click for a lot of people watching from the outside. For years, fans had been side-eyeing the situation, thinking something felt off, even questioning if she truly wanted to be with Will. But it never added up because if things were that bad, why not just separate officially? Now it's starting to make more sense to people. With that new perspective, some are saying it explains all the tension people have been picking up on for years. There's even talk that she may have been pushing things to a breaking point behind the scenes, though that's all speculation. And while rumors keep spreading about her spending time with other men, people are really focusing on what she herself has admitted in the past.
Actually had to reread it because I said, is this true? Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives? It was not a divorce on paper, but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago,
Yes.
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
She once openly said, I really didn't want to get married, and even shared that her mother strongly encouraged it at the time. That detail alone has people looking back at everything differently, trying to piece together how things ended up so complicated and so public. Will spent years planning this huge, over-the-top celebration because he thought it would lift her mood during what he saw as a rough phase. He really believed it would make things better between them. But instead of appreciating it, Jada shut the whole thing down and made it clear she wasn't impressed at all. She even said it felt more like something he did for himself, like it was feeding his ego instead of actually being about her.
At that point, it was obvious she was already unhappy in the marriage, and that played a big role in how she reacted to his effort. Then there was that moment where people thought she headed that Will wasn't meeting her expectations in private life, which instantly had everyone talking. To clear things up, she later said, "Stop making up headlines. Watch the red table talk I did with Gwyneth Paltrow for yourselves. Will and I have never had an issue in the bedroom. Thank you." That response didn't stop the conversation though, not even close. As time went on, the whole situation just kept making Will look worse in the public eye. A lot of people started feeling like Jada was putting him in uncomfortable spots on purpose, whether she meant to or not. And it wasn't just about what she said in interviews, it was also how things played out behind the scenes, especially when cameras were involved, which only made everything feel more intense and harder to ignore.
Why do that? Like, what was the reason?
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us
Yeah.
how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know? And we hadn't figured that out.
There were plenty of moments where you could tell he didn't want to be on camera at all. His face said everything without him even speaking. He looked uncomfortable, sometimes even irritated, but the recording kept going anyway. And on top of that, there would be little comments thrown in that didn't help the situation. Like when she said, "You know, Aia is coming to the table. She's gonna be at the red table." Moments like that just made things feel even more tense on screen. Then people started bringing up that letter Willow wrote years ago when she was just 11, and it had everyone shocked all over again. She wrote, "Dear Tupac, I know you are alive in some place. I think that my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so mommy and me can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Love, Willow." That letter sparked a lot of conversation, with people reading into it and forming their own opinions about what was really going on in the family. Even though Willow was very young at the time, many people felt like that moment revealed deeper emotions within the household. And looking back now, some are saying it adds context to why the marriage eventually became so complicated. To really understand why all of this hits hard for Will, you have to remember he's openly talked about feeling insecure about Jada's past connection with Tupac. They shared a strong bond before he passed away, and even after all these years, Will admitted that it still affected him in a real way. He even admitted he felt jealous of how close they were, saying their bond made him question where he stood in Jada's life. That's a heavy thing to carry.
And when that letter from Willow resurfaced, it just brought all those old feelings right back to the surface. It made everything more complicated than it already was. When he was asked, "Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?" he answered, yeah. And that moment said a lot without needing anything extra. And then there's the Oscar situation, which only added more tension to everything. When Will stepped in to defend her on that stage, people expected some kind of strong support from Jada, but instead, clips started spreading online showing her reaction. And let's just say it had people talking. Some viewers even pointed out that she seemed amused in that moment, which didn't sit right with a lot of people watching it back.
The day after her 37th birthday, I hired a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday. I hired a documentary team that traced Mommy's family roots. Her 40th birthday was going to be my thing.
Was it going to be a splash?
It was going to be a splash.
That reaction only made things more awkward in public, and it added another layer to how people were already viewing that relationship. So when rumors started spreading about them fully separating and living completely different lives, a lot of people weren't even shocked anymore. Some of the stories being shared sound extreme, but at the core of it, this situation has clearly been building up for a long time. And while it's easy to focus on one side, it's also true that Will hasn't always been seen as a perfect partner either, which keeps the whole story complicated. There were also rumors that Will wasn't exactly staying on a straight path either. People were saying he had his own situations going on, but unlike Jada, he kept things quiet and low-key. Still, once those stories started coming out, the internet didn't hold back at all. One of the biggest moments came when his former assistant, Bilal, made bold claims about Will's personal life, dragging other names into it and turning everything into a full-blown controversy. Clips and statements started spreading fast, with people repeating things like Hollywood is a hurry-up-and-wait game, while others added their own takes online. One post even said, "When Jada comes out and her husband admits everything, then I will listen," which only added more noise to an already chaotic situation. It became less about facts and more about who could say the wildest thing next. When those allegations came out, Jada didn't stay quiet either. She stepped in and made it clear she wasn't backing any of it, even saying she was ready to take legal action against Bilal. There was a moment where reporters tried to press her for more details, but she kept it moving and didn't entertain the questions for long, which only made people more curious.
Mary J. Blige performed. I debuted the film, all of that. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis, and it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love. And she's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego. It's crushed, right? And to this day, I know I was crushed.
What really surprised people was that even though they were already living separate lives, she still chose to defend him publicly. That just shows how complicated their situation really is. At the end of the day, everything around them feels messy and confusing. And while both sides have their own stories, it still leaves Will looking caught in the middle of a situation that keeps getting more intense. And now, the biggest question people keep asking is, where does all of this leave Will moving forward? Because no matter how you spin it, his image is taking hit after hit, and the internet never forgets anything. Every old clip, every interview, every awkward moment is getting pulled back up and analyzed all over again. What makes it even tougher is that Will built his career on being the likable guy, the positive energy, the one everyone rooted for. But now that image feels cracked, and people are looking at him completely different. Some still support him, but others are questioning everything, wondering how much of it was real and how much was just for show. At the same time, Jada seems completely unbothered, moving how she wants and saying what she feels without holding back. That contrast is what really has people talking, because while Will looks like he's trying to keep things together, she's out here living on her own terms, no apologies. And Chris Rock, he's still watching from the sidelines, adding his commentary in his own way, keeping the spotlight right where it hurts the most. At this point, this whole situation has turned into something bigger than just a personal issue. It's become a public saga that just keeps unfolding with no clear ending in sight.
You know Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me if you could film me.
Astaire, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
No, cause she don't just...
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay?
And just when it seems like things might finally calm down, something new always pops up and pulls the whole story right back into the spotlight. That's what makes this situation so hard to ignore. It never really ends. It just evolves into the next headline. Every time people think they've seen it all, another clip, another comment, or another rumor starts making rounds again. Now, people are debating who's really at fault here, and opinions are all over the place. Some are saying Will stayed too quiet for too long, letting things slide until it all blew up in his face. Others are pointing to Jada, saying she shared too much publicly and made private issues way too visible. Either way, both of them are being picked apart non-stop online, and the pressure just keeps building. What's clear is that this isn't just about one moment anymore. It's years of tension, misunderstandings, and public moments stacking on top of each other. And with every new detail that comes out, the story just gets more complicated and harder to untangle. Right now, all eyes are still on them, waiting to see what happens next. Because if this situation is proven anything, it's that it can flip again at any second.
I'm jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac. Fuck yeah. God, that dude. And that was in the early days. But she just loved him like he was the image of perfection, but she was with the Fresh Prince. So it was like, I never could, like, even we were in a room together a couple times, I couldn't speak to him,
At this point, it feels like the whole world is watching every move they make, waiting for the next twist to drop. And the pressure that comes with that kind of attention is no joke, especially when every little detail gets picked apart and turned into a headline. Even the smallest moments are being analyzed like they mean something bigger. Some people are starting to wonder if staying silent is actually making things worse for Will, because the longer he goes without really addressing everything head on, the more space it leaves for rumors and wild theories to take over. And once those stories start spreading, they move fast and don't slow down for anyone. On the other hand, Jada continuing to speak openly has kept the spotlight locked in place. Every time she shares something new, it adds another layer to the story, and people immediately react, whether they agree with her or not. It's like every word just keeps the conversation going instead of calming it down. And somewhere in the middle of all this, the public keeps choosing sides, debating non-stop, and turning a private situation into full-on entertainment. At this rate, it doesn't even feel like it's close to being over. It just feels like another chapter is getting ready to unfold.
It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe, and say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us.
And now people are starting to ask the bigger question. Is there any coming back from all of this for Will? Because rebuilding an image after this kind of non-stop attention is not easy at all. It's one thing to deal with one moment, but this has turned into a long chain of events that just keeps growing. Some believe he can recover if he takes control of his story and speaks clearly about everything that's happened. Others think the damage is already done, and no matter what he says, people are going to keep bringing up the past. That's the tough part about being in the spotlight. Your history follows you everywhere. At the same time, there's still a lot of curiosity around what really goes on behind closed doors. People feel like they've heard so much but still don't fully understand the full picture. And that mystery is exactly what keeps everyone locked in, waiting for more details to come out. One thing is certain though, this situation has changed how a lot of people view both of them, and it's not something that will fade overnight. Whether things settle down or get even more intense, this story has already made its mark, and people are still watching closely to see what happens next.
What is the hurry up and wait game? So 3 minutes later, after them telling me, hey, you got eyes on Will, we need him to come watch this. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, what? But I see his car there. I'm like, where's this guy? So now I'm holding Dwayne down too. So I have the keys to his dressing room. So I'm like, yo, and they're calling I'm on walkie-talkie and they calling my cell phone. Yo, we need to get Will here. I'm like, yo, kind of fucked down. Like, I'm trying to find it. Like, this is, I like him.
And as all of this keeps unfolding, one thing becomes very clear. This story isn't just about them anymore. It's about how the public reacts to every piece of it. The internet has turned this into a non-stop conversation where every opinion, every reaction, and every clip adds more pressure to an already intense situation. People are now going back through years of footage, interviews, and moments that didn't seem like a big deal before. But now they're being looked at completely differently. It's like everyone is trying to find that one clue that explains everything, even if it's something small that got overlooked at the time. At the same time, the line between what's real and what's just talk is getting more blurred by the day. Rumors spread fast, and once they're out there, they're hard to pull back, especially when millions of people are watching and sharing their own takes. That's what makes this whole situation feel even more chaotic and unpredictable. And through all of this noise, the only thing that hasn't changed is the attention. Whether it's support, criticism, or pure curiosity, people are still locked in, still watching, and still waiting to see how this story plays out next, because somehow it just keeps finding new ways to stay in the spotlight. And now it's reaching a point where people aren't just reacting anymore. They're forming full opinions about who these two really are. The situation has gone way beyond headlines, and it's turning into something that's shaping how the public sees both of them long term. That kind of shift doesn't just disappear overnight. For Will, this is about more than just clearing his name. It's about rebuilding trust with an audience that once supported him without question. That's not easy when every move he makes is being watched and judged in real time. Even the smallest action can spark a whole new wave of reactions online. Meanwhile, Jada continues to stand firm in how she presents herself, and that confidence keeps the conversation going strong. Some people respect it, others question it, but either way, she's not stepping out of the spotlight anytime soon. And that contrast between them keeps adding more layers to an already complicated story. At this stage, it feels like the narrative is still being written as things happen. No clear resolution, no final word, just constant updates and shifting opinions. And if there's one thing everyone can agree on, it's that this situation is far from finished, and the next twist could show up at any moment.
Right? So, all right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne then having anal sex with Will. Let me process that for a second. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him, murdered, like, you know, it was murdered.
And now it feels like everything has reached a turning point where something has to give. People are watching closely to see if Will finally steps in and says something that shifts the whole narrative, or if things just keep spiraling the way they have been. Because staying quiet forever isn't really an option when the spotlight keeps getting brighter. There's also this growing feeling that both of them are moving in completely different directions now, not just privately but publicly too. The gap between how they handle things is becoming more obvious, and that contrast is what keeps fueling the conversation online. Every move, every word, it all adds another layer to the story. At the same time, the audience isn't just watching anymore. They're picking sides, debating non-stop, and turning every detail into a bigger discussion. Some people want answers, others just want clarity. But either way, the attention isn't slowing down anytime soon. And with everything that's already happened, one thing is clear. This situation has gone way beyond a simple disagreement. It's turned into a full public storyline that keeps evolving. And right now, nobody really knows how it's all going to end. But everyone is still watching to see what happens next. And now it's at the stage where even people who weren't paying attention before are starting to tune in. That's how big this situation has gotten. It's pulled in a whole new audience who are just now catching up and reacting in real time. And once new people get involved, the conversation only gets louder. Clips keep resurfacing, old interviews keep trending again, and every detail is being re-examined like it just happened yesterday. It's almost like the past and present are colliding, creating this non-stop cycle where nothing ever really fades away. That kind of attention can keep a story alive way longer than expected. What makes it even more intense is that everyone thinks they figured it out. Some are convinced they know exactly what went wrong, while others believe there's still a lot being kept hidden.
That mix of confidence and curiosity is what keeps the discussion going strong across every platform. And through all of this, the spotlight hasn't moved one bit. If anything, it's gotten even brighter, making every next move feel bigger than it actually is. At this point, it's not even about one moment anymore. It's about the entire timeline, and people are still watching closely to see how the next chapter unfolds. Especially now that Chris Rock, who many see as his biggest rival in this whole situation, is taking shots again and clearly enjoying every second of it. That just adds even more pressure to an already intense situation. At this point, it's not even about one single moment anymore. It's everything crashing together at once. The Oscars incident, the interviews, the separation, the rumors, and now this leak situation are all stacking up on Will at the worst possible time. Because no matter how you look at it, he stood solid for Jada in public, defended her, protected their image, and took all the backlash that came with it. And somehow, he's still the one the internet is laughing at right now, which is what makes this hit even harder. With Chris stepping back in and making jokes again, it's like everything people thought was over just got dragged right back into the spotlight. And it leaves one big question hanging. Was this always going to happen, or did something behind the scenes push everything over the edge? If you've been following this whole situation, drop your thoughts below, because this story keeps getting deeper. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment what you think is really going on.